We're at Mill Cove Cafe today with Mayor Lorden. It's good to have you with us.
Again, John, well, thank you, as always.
Yes, and we're going to talk about Mayor's Moments. What happened this week that really stands out to you?
Well, as you know, summer is one of the busy and best times in Miramichi on the river. And this week, we're coming off of an amazing, as it always is, Irish Festival weekend. It's always one of the biggest weekends of the year. It was again this year. What I love about Irish Fest is it almost feels like a big reunion.
Or homecoming.
A homecoming. So many, especially for me, so many of the people I went to high school with who are now living elsewhere, and they always seem to find their way back at Irish Fest. So as a community, it's wonderful. The waterfront was packed all weekend long, so much going on, and it was a great opportunity to see some old friends and family as well.
Yeah, and all these people that are coming back, I suspect you're trying to keep them when they come.
Always, people tease me because I'm never not recruiting.
Right.
Whether that's for people to come back home and stay and let them know about how there are more economic opportunities here and jobs than in any time in recent history, and also anybody who's visiting from away to say, hey, if you really like what you're seeing here this weekend, you should maybe consider moving here for good.
Right. And there's been some beautification happening in the downtowns, hasn't there?
Yes, well, we are really excited and right down in Chatham downtown, for example, where the Irish Festival takes place on the Waterford Green. As you know, we've been working on a $7 million rebuild
$7 million
of the station wharf and building out the station wharf pier right beside Waterford Green. And that project's been going on for a couple of years now, and we are in the home stretch, so that project should be wrapped up later this summer or early fall. And that we were quite excited about. It was reclaiming the wharf. As you know, it had fallen into disarray. It was falling into the water, and so for the first time in my life, we'll have that reclaimed and reused as a public space. It'll be part of the waterfront as we continue to expand the waterfront footprint, eventually over to the other side of the Superstore Mall as well.
Yeah, we're so blessed to have the Miramichi River running through the middle. Not every community has that.
Well, you know what? It is so beautiful, and it's been so impressive over the last few years how we've started to reorient our lives and our community around that waterfront. And obviously, the last generation, it was very industrial. And as those things have moved away over the last year, you see more and more the community using that river as a place to come together, to socialize, and for recreational purposes. So every year there's more boats on the river, whether that's pleasure boats and speed boats, but also kayaks and canoes, and it's just amazing to see the river coming more and more alive, it seems, every year.
Now, is there something happening on this side of the river where we are today?
Well, it depends on the week. In terms of events, of course, a couple of weeks ago...
No, I was thinking of beautification.
There are so many exciting plans happening on both sides. So it's all kind of going to be interconnected, or it is interconnected through our downtown's redevelopment plan that council's been working on now for almost a year, and will be becoming public here in a few weeks.
Really?
The final plan, it's been public all along because there's been public consultations. We've been asking citizens, what would you like our downtowns to look like in the next 5 years, in the next 10, in the next 20? And there are public space projects in that. There's also strategies to ignite and stimulate private development, and in particular in housing, which we know we have a big shortage of the housing. But in recent years in Newcastle, for the last 3 or 4 years, we've consistently invested in renewing Ritchie Wharf. If you've been down there recently, you know that a big part of the boardwalk has been redone. The shops have been renovated and freshly painted. There's a new playground next to the Rotary Club of Chatham. And so that space, like any space, if you don't take care of it, it loses the bloom on the rose. In the last couple of years, we've really emphasized putting that back. And of course, also 2 summers ago, we did a renovation, a renewal on Queen Elizabeth Square.
And isn't it beautiful? I was driving around it this last week, I think it was, and I thought, wow, this place has really come to life.
I totally agree, John. And one of the things that makes me so happy, and really, I can't get the smile off my face now, when you drive around or you walk around, when I walk across from City Hall to come here to Millville Coffee like I did today to meet
Yes.
you, and there's so many people in the park. And that's the point, you know, our parks are for people to use them.
Yes.
And before that renewal, you know, you really didn't see any people very often in that park. Now you see people there all the time, whether they're hanging out, eating lunch, playing chess, and more and more events. And on the Chatham side, we have a plan to begin later this fall and finish next year a similar renewal to Elm Park.
Wow.
Which also, if you drive by Elm Park these days, there's almost never anybody in it. And the point is, when we invest into fixing these parks up, then people will use them, and that's exactly what we want.
Thank you.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting